Jackson Radio Show.
More good news for leftists. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. If you're a leftist listening to the program in this segment, you're going to be like, ooh, look at there, Kevin Jackson. What's up now, brother man? Huh? What's Kevin Jackson talking about on the Kevin Jackson Show? How's he about to refute what he's already been talking about? Mr. Pro-Trump black man? Sellout, step and fetch it, Negro, Rush Limbaugh wannabe? What's he talking about? I'm talking about the trade deficit. 844-551-8255. If you leftists want to rub it in, what I'm about to say. See, because the trade deficit grew. There it is. Rip the Band-Aid off. But see, I'm not in any pain. You should be wondering, why is Kevin in no pain? He's talking about the trade deficit. It's gone up. And I warned everybody. I said, look, the thing about trade, you can't stop trade on a dime. Trade is one of those deals you inherited first. Now, what did Trump do to alleviate trade? Initially, he got a big deal on beef. That's going to now be shipped to China. And the first orders came in almost 4 or 5 months after the deal was done. That's how long it took. And it's going to be just an initial piece, and at first, because the people that have to go into these markets and sell and negotiate the deals, that doesn't move on a dime. Nor does somebody place billions of dollars of beef orders, nor can we fulfill them that quickly. See, that's what's called manufacturing whip. Now you go, what are you talking about manufacturing? Manufacturing. See, cattle is a manufacturing business. Cows get impregnated by bulls. They have calves. Calves have to grow up. Calves grow up. They go to slaughter. Then they go. Then they're shipped out. It takes a while. If you have a calf today, he's not ready for market for months. They got to get to a certain weight, a certain size. And again, that's manufacturing. And so WIP is work in process, meaning they've already got markets to serve. These companies have already planned on, this is how much beef I'm going to need for this period of time. They don't want to over cattle because then they got to feed them. So you try to plan the market for what the demand is. So they're just starting to understand the demand of the Chinese market. It isn't like it just happens overnight. So from the moment they announced it, it was months before they could allocate a certain amount of cattle, beef, that could get shipped to China. But it's starting to ship. Trump went there a few months ago. He got 183 new products that can be sold to China. I told you guys, I said, look, you can't move this on a dime. These people now who've never had the Chinese market, been able to sell in the Chinese market, now got to staff up. They got to put offices over there. They got to find Chinese-speaking salespeople. So what they tend to do is they'll send somebody over, a gaijang, a white dude, and that person will go over and then negotiate, find people that understand the business and can cut through the red tape, pardon the pun, of the red China, and then they start selling product. But you're talking about months of setup and getting things going. And then you only get a little bit because, as I said, the manufacturers already have other markets. They're not set up to just suddenly have access to a new 100,000 clients or 100 million clients. They're set up to do the business that they've been doing. So they have to add to the manufacturing facilities and so on and so forth. But when they do that, and then they've got the sales force in place, they now can start working on supply chain. Let's start getting the orders, manufacturing, storing a certain number of orders, and shipping a certain number of orders. And that's always a delay. So Donald Trump's trade deficit grew. They said it's the highest since 2008, despite, I love this article, despite Donald Trump's repeated promises to reduce the size of the deficit. If Donald Trump inherited anything besides cop killings and school shootings, a bad economy, a terrible foreign policy, and a bunch of other stuff, he certainly inherited Barack Obama's trade deficit. TPP, NAFTA, and a host of others that were horribly negotiated. So they want to make it look like Donald Trump's an idiot. It's gone up. The trade deficit grew by 12.1%. I love this part. Soaring to $566 billion, the highest since it hit, get this, $708.7 billion in 2008. The Department of Commerce revealed this on Tuesday. The trade gap widened, growing 5.3%, this is in December, to $53.1 billion. Now, let me explain why it grew in December to $53.1 billion. If you haven't figured it out, I'll help you. It's called the holiday season. And we had one of the most brisk holiday seasons that we've had since the previous year, and that we've had in a decade. And so we don't have the manufacturing capacity. We don't make a bunch of TVs and electronics and a bunch of the crap that got bought. So guess what? China, South Korea, and Japan, they fill that void. And that's the reason why Donald Trump created such a robust economy. We actually had to increase our trade deficit in order to meet supply and demand. Now, if you believe that Donald Trump is stupid enough that he's going to leave it that way, then carry on. My wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest and don't you cry no more. But let me just tell you, it won't stay that way. You're going to watch the trade deficit slowly begin to drop. And where's it started? It started with washing machines, lumber, beef. We're going to start exporting more products, and you're going to watch it go down. I don't know what it'll go down to. It may go down to a couple billion dollars over the next couple of years, but it will go down. They said the U.S. imported numerous foreign-made goods in 2017, many of which were produced in China. The trade gap with China, a country Trump criticized repeatedly on the campaign for its unfair trade practices, surged to a record-breaking $375 billion. It was around 356, if I'm not mistaken. Imports from Mexico hit a new high. Why? Because part of NAFTA, a lot of the manufacturing that's done over there is through the maquiladores, which are what we've set up, and that product had to come in as well to handle the holiday rush. But watch it next year. See, don't fret, folks. The left, they love to celebrate this. The trade deficit grew. Look at how bad Donald Trump is. He's an idiot. He is no idiot. Donald Trump is one of the most shrewdest business people you've ever met. And I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to eat these words. That's why I started out by saying, hey, good news for you leftists. The trade deficit went up. If they really believe that, if they don't sense the sarcasm, then shame on them. Because I'm going to tell you, when I come back and give you the numbers in a year, you're not going to be happy about them, leftists. Short break.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.